Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast of our last 30 podcasts about life, death, and everything in between. And as discussed previously in our podcast, last couple episodes, we were challenged. Dr. Liz, you'll know that we were challenged to take the podcast to the next level, to make it more intellectual.
So you brought a woman.
This is exactly what we were told to do. 100%. They said, hey, don't get us wrong. We like what you're doing, but you keep saying you're not smart enough to interview women. I think maybe you might be there. Like, so, all right, so what do we do? And we went through our Rolodex of guests and friends and colleagues and people we admire. And Dr. Liz, I think you guys are going to appreciate this, was at the top of that list and someone we can invite to talk about, again, our topic, our podcast here. And we thought it was going to be really special that you're going to be our first guest. And so welcome everyone who's listening. Cesar, normally we start with a handshake.
There you go.
Yeah,
I love it.
We'll work that in. But Dr. Liz, our podcast started. Our listeners or subscribers know we're just over 6,500 subscribers, and we're like super grateful and humbled by that. But the podcast, the concept was just a couple guys who went through a tough time individually and together, and then we just started talking over lunch and what that looks like and how we could just kind of take care of other men, right, who are not talking about mental health issues or struggles or whatever else is going on. And so that's really how it started. So we weren't trying to exclude women. We were just trying to provide that resource. But we quickly realized that the majority, it seems like, of our listeners are women listening with their partners, women listening and then talking to their partners. And so it would be a disservice for us to not get a woman's perspective on life. And we talk about it all the time, whether it's our spouse, Cesar's girlfriends. Sorry.
Wow, so sad. I hope they all know of each other.
I don't even know about them, so I don't know what he's talking about.
We have a website that I'm running. It's called datecesar.com.
First time I've heard about it.
First of all, Fred did not pay for that domain. So
Fred doesn't even know what a domain is.
Is that the main dough at the pizza place?
Yes,
no, okay.
That's the basic one.
So, anyways, we like to talk about like our respect for our moms and sisters. We both have sisters. Cesar's mom is still alive, and he has this wonderful relationship with her. And again, my spouse and Cesar's friends and just our colleagues at the university, colleagues in different places that we've been able to engage. And so we have this tremendous respect for women, but our podcast was lacking in that piece where women could comment. And so we just thought, like, who could we invite and that's not going to have difficulty speaking their mind. And before I could finish that sentence, Cesar's like, Dr. Liz. Dr. Liz is that first guest, right? Like, yeah. And as he started developing the questions, you could see that they were definitely created with you in mind.
Thank you.
So welcome, Dr. Liz. We'll let you introduce yourself and welcome to our humble little podcast. So take it away.
First and foremost, let me first say, congratulations to the both of you for the space that you have created. Because when you talk about our men of color, whether black or brown, it is difficult in both of our cultures for us to speak, for our men to speak about how they feel. If it's not bleeding or an actual injury or anything to that nature, you don't speak about feelings, which, I can see why a lot of women may watch this to have conversations with their partners to get the male perspective. Am I asking the right questions? And to get the answers that I want, or even more so that I need to hear so I know how to help. So I applaud you guys for the space that you've created.
Thank you.
As Fred was saying, I'm Dr. Liz Garza-Garcia. I don't even know where to begin. I've been in education for more than 20 years. It was eye-opening experience to realize I've been in this game for so long. Been able to teach on every level of education from K through 12 all the way to the university level. Have enjoyed every single moment of it. And now I am in one of the largest districts in the North Texas area, helping to elevate the marginalized community of our emerging bilingual students, specifically getting them across the graduation line. I want to share a story from last night. One of our graduations, I had a student who was our valedictorian. She was a daughter of migrants, and once upon a time entered our school district as a newcomer. And in her valedictorian speech, she says, the least I could do was get my high school to get my high school diploma, because then the sacrifices of my parents was worth nothing. And just that was so powerful to understand and see the pressures that our students of color are under. And it's not just being able to cross the finish line of graduation to get a job. I mean, it's carrying the sacrifices of generations before them as they try to cross that line. So I just appreciate you guys creating this space, because the finish line for everything in life is, if a second we get near it, somebody will continue to pull it back even more, so that we have even more to have to go through. So I do appreciate that.
No, thank you. And we've met
Before we
last
were doctor,
10,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Just
That's
Fred
right.
and
You know,
Liz.
we our families have been able to know each other and motivate each other and watch those unique challenges and development in our profession and what we do, right? And higher ed and K through 12, they're very unique that we get to serve populations that are otherwise, they're going to be, I think they're going to be served, but I don't know that people who serve always have the right mind frame and selflessness to serve. I've been lucky in my career. I've been, mentored and provided opportunities by people of all races, ethnicities, genders. Actually, women have provided more resources and opportunities for me.
She actually mentored us not too long ago.
No, you're right. You're right about that. Dude, that's a perfect example. We're starting. We are doing our inaugural efforts, and reach out to Dra.Liz and say, hey, how do you do this, this, and this? And halfway through that conversation, she's that mean, like, and she's trying to be nice, right? She's like, I like you guys. Like, don't get me wrong, but how do you say?
No.
Yeah. No. So anyway, we didn't want to put too much on her. The point is, like, there's beautiful people that we hope you keep in your circle, everyone listening, that have the patience, willingness, and knowledge to take you to the next level. And we think that's what leadership is. We think that's what friends and colleagues are. We think that's what makes up our profession, is people willing to do stuff that can be difficult, right? And can be challenging. Again, my point was that I've been lucky that I've been able to serve some pretty diverse communities. The largest, I would argue, most diverse community that I work with is our veterans population.
Wow.
Veterans represent every race, every gender, every ethnicity, every religious and non-religious belief, and we all go in with the same concept. Usually, more often than not, we're going to be middle class or lower middle class, as far as not a whole lot of access to money and resources, and that service allows that early access, particularly college. But again, so thank you, everyone listening, and thank you, Dra.Liz, for doing that. Cesar, what do you have? Do you have any follow-up questions for, even as we get started, or you want to jump right into it?
No, honestly, I've known Dr. Liz for a little bit now. I know we not as long as you guys have known each other, but I know she's definitely have helped us in a lot of ways. She's definitely guided us in a lot of things. And again, once again, thank you for the collaboration and all the everything that you guys did for us for the summit. I think it was amazing turnout, so we appreciate that. And I
Yeah.
think to jump into it, I know we have limited time, and I know there's a lot of ways where we can take this, and a lot of things where we can go. I think one of the first questions that we would like to ask is, what has been one of the most defining moments in your life, whether it be career-wise, personal life, that has led to the work that you are currently doing, the way that you are empowering the community, the summit or the mini conference that's coming up in a couple of weeks as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the inspiration really came at a very early age as a mentor. I was blessed enough to be able to get a job that didn't require me to smell like grease because all my friends were working at fast food places. And y'all, I'm not, I don't take orders well, which is why the military wouldn't have ever worked for me. um, and especially with authority, I just don't like, I don't like hearing no, and I like to do whatever I want. So I was blessed enough that the college I was at had work study programs, and luckily I was the part, and they wanted college students of color to go and mentor newcomers at the middle school level. And so luckily I was the part. So they had me in a middle school in Dallas ISD. And I was so blessed to be able to, I remember being in there, watching the teacher instruct. And he is talking to a student who is off task, but I came to realize he was off task because he didn't understand what the teacher was saying. He understood what the teacher was teaching. He just didn't understand what the teacher was saying. And so he's like, I'm just waiting for the teacher to, tell us what to do so I can do it and we're done. But I don't need to pay attention. I know what we're doing. Well, the teacher didn't like that because that's not the social norms of our society. You behave, you pay attention. That's our social norms. That's our narrow view of how our education system views how our students should be at the secondary level. And I remember the teacher going straight up to the student in their face and telling them, do you understand what I'm saying? And in a very loud, bold voice and just nodding up and down. And the student, he's like, okay, good. And moved on. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, that's not comprehensible input. Crashin, where are you?
Yeah.
But again, I didn't know all of that yet. I was I think I was like 19 years old. So I didn't know what I didn't know, but I knew that wasn't right. I just
Yeah.
knew in my heart of hearts that wasn't right. Now please understand, I didn't grow up needing the assistance of learning English. I'm fifth generation, so my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my great grandmother before the way my family prides themselves in saying is we were here before Texas existed. And so, very prideful of the fact that we are fifth generation, or that I'm fifth generation, coming from a generational existence here in this country. And so I didn't have that need to learn English. I already knew English, but it didn't matter that I didn't need to know or need to deal with the sacrifices that a lot of our newcomer students have to deal with. But that does not mean that I shouldn't advocate for the privilege I had,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is this is why I do what I do, because I am advocating for them because they don't have that privilege that I have. And so this is why I'm very big on, if anybody needs help, I'm going to search the ends of the earth to try to find the help for them if I can't do it, because it's only right. We in our culture, we're very big on bringing others up with us. It is this society that changes that mindset within us to be greedy so that we don't help others, because we confuse that with now because I've given them my help, now they're going to be competition. No, we don't need to compete with each other. We need to continue to grow so that we
Mhm.
we are the ones who monopolize the voting. We are the ones who monopolize the system because we work together as a team. So that's what really advocated me to begin my journey toward bilingual education and being a strong advocate for bilingual multilingual programs and sustainable systems within within the public schools, so that there's equity in education, specifically looking at students and language.
And Dr. Liz, you said that one of your gifts is to help find solution, to find answers if someone needs help. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, you started an organization, a nonprofit. Can you talk about that and
Sure.
what you guys do and how you serve the community?
Yeah, and thank you for giving me the space to do so. I rarely get to. So, going through doctoral school, it took me a nice journey to get to through dissertation. Like anybody else, if you don't understand how to create your own goals and meet them all the time, you're going to have difficulty when it's all up to you. And so with dissertation specifically, what should have maybe taken what? I guess on a good scale, I have heard some people can finish it from start to finish within a year, 2 semesters. I'm like, you obviously don't sleep or eat or married or have children or a
Ain't on you,
life.
right?
Like, good luck. Like, I, I'm not jealous of you. So,
No,
but,
really,
but good for
could
you
have
for
that.
finishing, because you probably got it a lot faster than I did. It literally took me 5 years,
Yeah,
from when I was done with coursework to finish with dissertation. And the whole reason being is life decided to throw curveballs at me. And I purposefully ran after those curveballs that I couldn't catch. And with that, made my dissertation process go longer. There were semesters I can remember, and Fred, we have to pay for those semesters whether we progress in dissertation or not.
that's
They don't
right.
care.
That's
And
right.
so the whole thing is paying semester after semester and not finishing. Like, my husband started calculating how much that was costing
Yeah.
us.
Uh,
And regardless, when I finally finished, when I got to the end, what I finally realized after talking bluntly to my advisor was understanding that my advisor and others like her, she was a mother, she was a caregiver, she was a wife, she was a associate professor, she was on a 10-year track, all these other additional things. But what she was not was being compensated for the personal time that she was sacrificing to help me through
that's right.
dissertation. I didn't
Hmm.
realize that. I'm thinking, I pay the tuition, you better help me. No, it's calculated differently for them when it comes to dissertation assistance. It's like for teaching other duties as assigned. And
Correct.
so I didn't realize that. And when she had like 10 doctoral students on her task, and you have to do mini sessions with each one, and
That's
we
right.
are not all on the same motivation schedule, that I didn't know what I didn't know.
Mhm.
After we had that conversation, I told her straight out, I'm sorry for any bad thing I ever said about you, because I know I did not say kind things and you didn't
In fact, my
deserve it.
husband has a list of them right here.
I'm gonna take you off my list of people I don't like. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I came to realize that, it really got me to understand that um, people of color, we're not really taught goal setting. We really aren't. We're
Mhm.
not taught to create our own goals and then make the little mini milestones that we need to do to
Mhm.
create to get there. So I can see how dissertation was difficult for me, and why, and the many other women and men who look like me, it's difficult for them too. And so after graduation, I started just helping my friends who were also in a doctoral program with me. Like, hey, let me see what you wrote. Let me read it. And I would just comment questions. That's it. And then as they started moving through, they started telling, this is really great what you're doing. Like, thank you. I didn't think to do this. I didn't think to add this. It was just these little things. And literally all I'm doing is just reading dissertations and commenting questions. Tell me more about this. Consider using a different word because you used it 7 other times in the last 2
Yeah.
paragraphs. Things like that, because I'm looking at it with the perspective of I've got nothing to lose. When you're
Yeah.
looking at it, when you've got everything to lose, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever created. And let me tell you, dissertations are ugly. And so,
And to be fair, when you've read something, when you've written it and read it many times, you stop seeing those errors. You stop seeing
yes.
the repetition of words, right?
Hmm.
And plethora of other
Correct.
situations that are going on. It's always great to get a fresh pair of eyes
Exact.
on.
And I didn't realize what I was doing was something that was needed. And so then I decided to start my nonprofit, which is called Mujeres with Doctorates. So other people who I helped bring over to the doctorship or doctorhood, I believe we call it. Um, uh, I asked them, would you join me? If I can't read what I can't read, or maybe I know that you have better knowledge of a topic, I'm going to send you somebody's dissertation. All I need you to do is read it, ask questions. That's it. If you can ask at least 5 questions per chapter, that's going to help them beef it up. That's going to help them. A lot of people I've helped since graduation back in 2021, I have helped cross over 7 other women.
Wow.
And when I think about it, for me numerically, I'm like, well, if you calculate that, divide it by the year, divide it by the hours of the day, and blah, blah, blah. To me, it's not as significant as I'd like it to be. But to
Well,
every single,
ask those 7 women, Dr. Liz.
exactly, that's
You
the
know what I
thing.
mean?
That's the thing. And they helped
Yep.
me change that perspective. And like, it
Yep.
was important to me. It was important to me.
Shoot.
So I started
Got me through
Mujeres
it,
with
right?
Doctorates, which
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I love it. It's my baby, right? And what I
So,
go ahead,
sorry.
Fred. Sorry.
I was gonna say, so you take in people on that last phase. What part of the dissertation or of the earning their doctorate are they seeking out your services for anyone listening? And and so do you, I would imagine you also are interested in building your team with other professionals who've earned their doctorate, other women who've earned their
Yes.
doctorate as well, right?
Yes, and in various areas. That's the big thing. Right now, a majority of people who I connect with, they're in the field of education, ed leadership, higher ed, things like that. So it's all surrounding the education. Just recently, I had one that was on trauma, so trauma informed, but still trauma informed teaching. So, but just to have that piece, that psychological piece that she was bringing in was, great. Oh, I didn't know that about education. Let me learn more myself, being a lifelong learner. It also, you know what, Fred, it's like, it feeds my soul because I'm a reader. I just love to read. So to be able to read without any risk that a person, they're going to finish their dissertation, and not
Yeah.
only that, they're sending it to me at a time when their motivation, they're just like, it's perfect, there's nothing else. I had somebody sent me their dissertation maybe about a month ago, Fred, I kid you not, and I love her, so if she finds this, I'm not sure, you know who you are, it's not you I'm talking about. It was 45 pages long, and her bibliography was 19 pages. And she was like, I'm finished. It's perfect. And I'm like, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And so when she got it back, she's like, that's a lot of questions. And I was like, that was just one chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole point is because you have to be the expert. And one thing from the 7 that I helped cross over, 2 of which actually, or not 2 of which, 2 more actually will be crossing over in August. So I'm really excited to hear about that. I'll be adding that. But of the original 7, 2 of them told, or not 2, more than half of them, they're like, me going through this process with them helped them be so well versed in their work that when they were answering in their final defense questions from maybe committee members that read it, but not to the fidelity as maybe their chair, and asked questions, they were able to reply with, "Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. If you looked in chapter 4 under, in page, 210, paragraph this, you'll be able to find that." I was able to see they got so good at that they
Yeah.
felt so comfortable in the space. And a
Yeah.
lot of them, that's their biggest challenge when we start prepping them for defense too, is that they're like, what if they ask me this? Let them ask. You're the expert. Why
Yeah.
do you care?
Hmm.
That's
You're the
right.
expert. You're the
That's
expert.
right.
And so help them
That's
with
right.
that confidence to be able to build that.
No, I love it, and what a tremendous resource. So hopefully, if you are someone, a woman who's earned their doctorate, or someone even thinking about, they have
Yeah.
maybe a master's degree and said, I'm thinking about earning my doctorate, and what's that process like? I feel like Dr. Liz and her team would be phenomenal resources for you.
Thank
Let me
you.
let me let me go on to another question here that we have. Caesar really helped develop these. And what lessons have your failures taught you that success never could?
Failure instills fear. And so when you fail, you're scared to do it again, right? Somebody once told me, do it scared. And so from that, anytime I fail, I'm like, okay, how do I get better? What do I do to be better? I have that mindset. And I will tell you, it really, really came, as I was, done with dissertation, when I was just like, I wasn't even supposed to be here. I wasn't even supposed to be in college. I shouldn't have even gotten my bachelor's degree. I should have fallen, according to statistics, being a product of a unplanned teenage pregnancy. My statistics should have been myself having unplanned pregnancies, and just, that's what society says I should have fallen into. The fact that, I met everything I was told I wasn't supposed to do, like, really just solidifies, okay, well, do it scared. If I'm scared, just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah,
Right? So I think
it
that's the
definitely
biggest
keeps you
thing.
alert, right? When
Yeah.
you're scared, you're definitely more aware and alert, and
Yeah.
so that
And I
I
know,
like that.
Fred, the service that you provided to this country, I'm sure there were many times you were forced to just be scared, but you still had to be, your life and the life of others were on you. So you
That's right.
had to, you were forced to have that awareness that you didn't know.
Yeah,
So yeah, and I'll honestly, if anybody is listening, if anything, do it scared. And I've done so much more just being scared.
yeah, and I think that's a beautiful message, because what Caesar talks about often is the imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
And how that has affected us as men, right? Uh, uh, but it's the only reason we mention that, when we say this affects us as Latino men, because we self-identify as Latino men.
Hmm.
If we were anything else, we would say how imposter syndrome affects us. Can you share a little bit about that imposter syndrome? I'm stealing one of Caesar's questions,
I
so
love it.
my bad.
Let me tell you, imposters, I was helping another doctoral student in her research. She was gathering evidence, and she was asking me questions, and I told her about imposter syndrome and things like this. This is how a conversation went. And when we were done with the conversation, she's like, can I add, because she was getting her doctorate in, sociology, I believe. And she was telling me how she doesn't believe in imposter syndrome. And she said, if you never were introduced to it, would you have known it?
Mm.
And it was really thought provoking, but I was like, probably
Interesting.
not, but it's because I wouldn't have had a name for it. That doesn't necessarily mean it wouldn't have existed. It just necessarily means I couldn't name it. Right. So
Yeah.
when it comes specifically to that, trust me, right now, my imposter syndrome, of course, is female. And, for Latina women, I think she's more like my grandmother, and her, like, ay, mira, so kind of tone in my head. And she is very, very strong right now, especially with the summit coming up in a few weeks. I can't tell you how many times she has appeared in nightmares, at night, just to tell me, you're going to be in an empty room, right? Nobody's going to be there. Nobody cares about this. And I'm just like, ay, calma, don't say things like that. Why can't you be so negative? Like, yeah, basta, mujer. Get away from me.
Hey, Dr. Liz, can I tell you the morning of our summit, again, like you, it was our
Oh
inaugural summit.
gosh.
Cesar and I, we didn't talk that night before, right? It was just, hey, dude, I'm gonna try to go to bed early. I tossed and turned. I could not sleep. I got up around 3 something in the morning. You know, I usually get up around 4, but this was like early. I was exhausted. I wasn't feeling well. I met up with Cesar. It was probably 8 something in the morning, 7, whatever it was.
Something.
And I said, hey, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not feeling well, dude. So I don't even know what that means. And he says, like, what do you mean? I said, like my stomach hurts, like nausea, like I was talking to my medical professional, right? He goes, yeah, me too. I said, you're not feeling well either? He said, nah, man, I couldn't sleep all night long. I got up early, and I was like, damn, bro. So we in this together, right? And so, like for you, Dr. Liz, you're gonna have likely that same. Not that I wish that upon you, but
Okay.
when you care about something this much,
Yeah.
it bothers you, right?
Yeah.
You want it to be as great, maybe not perfect, but as great as possible. And the resource that you're providing the community, it's always, I think we just want so many people to listen because of the speakers you've lined up, the opportunities that I mean, the
Yeah.
amount of work that goes into it. Can you talk a little bit more? And what's the name of your conference?
Yeah.
When can people go? What's the date? And Cesar, of course, if we can remember to put that information in the comments and also provide a QR code for them to follow and sign up as well.
I love it. And I'll send you guys the updated flyer with the QR code that goes
Okay.
straight to the Eventbrite.
Perfect.
So if you are listening and it is not June the 7th yet, please know on Saturday, June the 7th, at Mountain View College, I will be hosting what I have called the DesMadre Summit. And really, if you know what you know, DesMadre translates for me to good trouble. And that's really what it is to me. Okay. So what I'm trying to do really, right now, we know the political system that we're in, looking at it through a lens of equity in our public school systems. If you don't know, you should know about what's happening with our public school systems when it comes to funding for our Black and Brown children, when it comes to equitable access to CTE programs, advanced mathematics, the language, the list goes on and on of how public education benefits our students. And the thing is that the best way to disable a society is to attack public education. And that's exactly what's happening right now. The thing is nothing can be done without the voice of the community and its members to advocate for what is rightfully theirs. So in this summit, the goal is to really arm people, first introduce them to a world of people who have seen this injustice in their own backyards and did something about it, and what they did and what some continue to do to be the voice of the voiceless. And then also introduce the partners that I have who are helping me put this on, and introducing the community to resources that are out there, from local bookstores to honestly, labor solutions to help with anything you might need at home, anything like that. Small companies to I wish I could say something, a big company, but not yet. HEB, I'm still waiting for a callback.
Hey, I'm waiting for that HEB call. Hey, listen. Don't get me on that HEB. Listen, I love that.
But
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that word. He's gonna go.
Here's my weakness. HEB, Jelly Roll, not the food, the artist. What else?
But really, I want people to leave, number one, knowing when their school board meetings are. Number two, knowing who their representatives are. Number three, knowing how to be persistent in in asking the right questions and not accepting the easy answers, because our leadership right now, especially in public school system, from the principal all the way up to the superintendent right now, are being told, hey, continue with normalcy, and tell them if you don't have the answer, you'll get back to them. No, that's a cop out answer. And okay, that's fine. By when? When do you plan to get
Hmm.
back to me? I'll follow back up. I'll put it in my calendar so I can make sure to follow back up. But
Yeah.
you're going to give me an answer. So really just equip our community members, from parents to students. If there's any thriving college students out there, high school students, by all means, please come. You are the biggest voices for us, because you are going to be our next medical doctors, our nurses, our police officers, our engineers, our city council members. Heck,
Hmm.
there's probably, as we're talking, you may have the future president watching this podcast right now.
Right. No,
All
you're
right.
right.
By all means, we need you guys to be equipped to know what you rightfully deserve through public education.
And is the
Absolutely.
conference open to men and women?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. And anybody, in all honesty, I'm inviting parents, teachers, administrators, community members, grandmothers, if you know, in the future, you are probably going to need one of the children to be your educated medical doctor, nurse, police officer, community member. It all starts in public education.
Yeah.
And we need your voice to ensure that they have the equitable access
Yeah.
so that they can serve us as global citizens in our old life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Absolutely. No, that's amazing. Um, Man, we'll be there for sure.
I love it.
I've already registered. Fred probably hasn't registered yet, but
I'm gonna do
um,
that
he'll be
today.
my plus one. Um,
I
I
love
gotta
it.
bring, yeah, so we'll be there. But as of recently, actually, about maybe a couple months ago, we've been doing we did a little series on relationships for men and what that means for a guy, and being vulnerable and showing your feelings and things like that. Now that we have the woman perspective here, and with the podcast and going about that, one of the questions that we would like to ask you is, how do you navigate the work that you are doing and being a strong, independent woman, while as well dealing with the relationship aspect with your husband? We've had your husband on the podcast here
I
before.
was about to say, if her name sounds familiar, previous guest Joel Garcia, what 15 podcasts ago or something,
Nah, he
somewhere
was
around
like
there.
probably like the
Wasn't
second
he
one.
okay, yeah. I was like, he
Yeah,
told me he was one of the first, so
he was either the first or second. It was either I think it was Dr. Flo, and then him. So yeah, it's been about a year since we've had him
He
on.
was, yeah, he was your first. Yeah, I remember that.
So dumb.
I like how you couldn't phrase that any other way, Fred.
No, I mean, like,
He can
English.
never.
English is a new language to me.
Well,
Speaking in a
Go,
new
sir, with
language
your
to you.
question.
I am with you. So
I
yeah, how do you
swear.
navigate that and the relationship? I know it probably you dedicate a lot of your time to the work that you do to your students. How that time management? How does that thought work? And obviously, that also has to come with a partner that's going to support you in the work that you're doing.
I love that you asked that question. Yes, Joel is he's my rock, my stable everything. Um and in all honesty, it's incorporating. So anything that I'm doing, even it's funny you ask, because like sometimes at work when we're doing Saturday events for work, this is part of the job, and I'm like, I need volunteers. So guess what you're doing on Saturday? So I hope you don't have plans.
Yeah,
So he doesn't
um,
volunteer; he gets voluntold.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, lovingly voluntold.
But he has a good attitude about it too, right? Like he's
Yes,
not, I'm like he's not
yes.
misty or
I
anything like
think,
that.
and
He's
yeah, if I could share, I don't know if a story when we were in college, we were both in Denton. He was at UNT, I was at TWU, and I was going to be a teacher. He was going to be something at UNT. I want to say engineering was what he was doing. Y'all, this guy, he's smart. Joel is extremely smart. But when it comes to books, he will tell you straight out, I do not like to read. Like he's just, and it's not that he can't, he just doesn't like it. If it's not reading to him, he's not wanting to do it. And so, in college, he told me, I was on full scholarship and I had a job, and he was going to school and working part time and trying to make the ends meet. Just, it wasn't making, it was hard. And I remember us having a sit down conversation, and him telling me straight out, he's like, you know what? How about you go to school full time? You don't get a part time job. You just go to school. And I'm going to quit school because I don't really like it. And I'm going to work full time, and I will take care of the bills and all that stuff. But when you get your degree and you do what you got to do, you take care of us. And he's like, would you be willing? I'll support us now and you support us later. And we made that agreement very early on. It was just open communication about it. And I was okay with it because that's what I wanted. I wanted a degree. So I was going to be able to live my dream. And it just turned from getting that to, hey, you know what, Joel? I might be able to get a master's. Would you be cool letting me go to school and get a master's? And he's like, yeah,
she
sure.
stretched out that. Listen, she knows how to run a contract.
Oh
Cesar,
yeah, oh yeah.
ooh, they so smart.
And then it went on to, hey, I
got burned
finally know
again.
where I want to go get my doctorate. So I'm going to go do that, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, Joel. The playbook. There's the playbook right there.
Ladies, take a note. Yeah, but honestly,
Free
Stessa,
advice.
talk to each other. Like that's the biggest thing. Like, the majority of reasons why people have, especially when it comes to both an alpha female and an alpha male, like in a relationship, I mean, they attract each other, but a lot of times why some don't work out is because you don't talk to each other. Majority of how you think one's going to feel is done all here in the head first, and then you overthink it and you go start the conversation already pissed off that you lost it in your head. So, in all honesty, it's having that open conversation. And please understand, it took us a minute to really, truly understand what that was. That was probably our very first conversation that we had, where I think we were the biggest grown-ups. One of the milestones of being a grown-up in a grown-up relationship. So,
We hear often, whether it's because he and I are men, and we hang out with a lot of guys, so you hear about alpha males. But I also feel like the literature and podcasts and the news talks about alpha males, and you don't often hear about a powerful, strong woman referred to in that manner, right? Usually in our world, it's very disrespectful in how they refer to women who are strong. Can you expand on what it means to be an alpha female, what it means to be a lead, a co-lead, a everything with your husband?
I love that you asked that question. Let me tell you, it starts first by accepting the identity. So when you guys are like, oh yeah, we thought Dr.Liz would be the best one, I was like, should I let them know that when my mom was pregnant with me, everybody thought I was supposed to be a boy? Even in my baby shower pictures, it was all blue because everybody thought I was a boy. And then I was born and they're like, oh, not a boy. But I know I had all the masculinity and testosterone running through me.
She's like, what's up? I'm here.
Exactly. But really, when it comes to that, I openly accepted my identity and who I was. And then when I became doctora, I'm very prideful, and I am doctora. I want that A at the end. I don't know. I'm not just you can introduce me as Dr.Liz. That's fine. I don't mind. But I am doctora, mainly because there is a even though the percentage of Latin American or Latinos, Latinas, however everyone identifies, even though that is a small number of people with doctorates, women who are
Oh
Latina,
yeah.
that's even not even enough of the pie for us to be able to identify what's that flavor.
Yes.
So I'm just like, no, I'm very, so any of my friends who come over too, this is why I'm like, you should consider adding the A, like your
Yeah.
doctora, like be proud of that. Um, Additionally, when you say that, Joelle and I, we have heard lots of people say, when you're in a relationship, it's a 50-50. You get 50%, 50%. We're very big at, no, that's BS. It's 100%. Each of you goes in 100%.
Yeah.
You are 100% helping in every aspect, and your partner should be 100% helping in every aspect. It's not a 50-50. If you're both going in there halfway, then you're going to get a half-fast relationship. You have to go in,
All in.
you have to go in 100% on both ways, so that 100% of what you create is out of that labor, that labor of one another. So yeah,
I love it.
that's
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and if any guys are listening out there, take notes.
That's right.
Take
And
notes.
and you
That's
know,
what
and
it takes to
also,
be a power couple.
yeah, and I love it, Dr. Liz, because so many women almost feel like they have to apologize for
Yep.
their strength, for their knowledge, for you even see
their
it in middle school.
space.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes. Oh, that
you
drives me
especially women.
nuts. I will tell you,
It's
and I come upon a lot of women who, before they speak, they apologize,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
want to, I will, and if you know me, you know me. I'm very blunt. I'm very straightforward. I don't sugarcoat anything. So I have called out a few women. I have made them cry by accident.
By
Because
accident.
it's not, and I'm not gonna say it's not my fault. I'm just, it's my fault that I didn't know how to speak better to let you know that you are worth the space you're taking up. So why apologize for it?
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So that's always drove me crazy when women begin to speak and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry to say something," and I'm like, "You don't need to be sorry for speaking. You're sorry for existing." Like, oh, that
And,
drives me
and,
nuts.
and let me add one last point, because I know him. If you're listening, because you don't know who her husband is, if you think he's a punk, you're wrong. If you think having a powerful wife means you're going to have a weak man, you're
Uh,
wrong. I'm here to tell you right now that you have two individuals who are leaders and complementing each other in that quest for family, familial success, for love,
Yeah.
to raise great children, to take care of and support each other along that process. So I just
Thank you,
want to add
Fred.
that because I know that for a lot of people and circles I've lived in previous engagements, they think that it must be a redistribution of power rather
Mm.
than a equal access to it, right?
Yes, he has. It's funny because I hold him on a pillar, and he tells me, I'm on a pillar too. So we just hold each other, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, but no, and I love that you said that too, Fred, because it's not. He pushes me. He pushes me to be a better me every single day. The life he gets to live. He tells me every day how. I love when I come home, like, what'd you do today? I lived the dream. I slept all day, didn't do a damn thing. I love it. God has blessed me so much. And I'm just like, I just got off of an 8-hour work shift. Like, you suck, dude. But
That was the deal, honey.
I manifested this life. You want this life? Manifest it. Yeah.
Let
So
me make a note. Manifest
Right,
a
manifested.
a different life.
I
Hey, can
can't.
yeah.
you manifest being taller?
Good. I believe in you, Fred.
Hey,
I believe in you.
You might be the only one. You might be the only one.
Cesar did it. Look at that.
oh, y'all wrong.
Oh man, that's funny. But okay, so I know we're getting
Closing
close
in.
in a yeah in an hour. I think one of the other
Sheesh.
questions that we would like for you to answer and see if you can give us a little knowledge on. What is something that you believe women, maybe in education, maybe just overall, aren't necessarily asked enough about? What is it that guys need to inquire more about? What is it that women need to talk more about, especially maybe in a platform like this? I mean, in a podcast, so for more people to see and understand uh, that perspective and point of view.
Stop ask. Okay, this is me. Please understand. I don't speak for the women in this of everybody. Okay, this is me. Because if I spoke for all the women, all of them who would ever watch this will probably never watch your podcast again. They'll be like, that bee does not speak for me. um, I know one thing that bothers me, that I hear from other women when like, well, what's your love language? What's your love language? Number one, I'm not going to read that book because that book does not entice me at all to read it. So I don't know. You know what my love language is? Don't ask me stupid questions like that. And don't say you're sorry for asking the stupid questions. Just don't ask them. That's
She said,
Liz.
"My love language is no seas mamón."
No.
Hashtag no seas mamón.
That's me. I would say, in all honesty, what sometimes our partners could forget to do for us,
Hmm.
um, it's what they don't say. It's the most important. It's what I will, a story about yesterday. Y'all, I had one graduation after another. I was at graduations all day yesterday. I'm blessed to be able to be in a job that values my position and how it contributes to our students crossing the stage and moving on to the world as high school graduates. And so I get to be on stage with the students, shaking their hands as they're walking across the stage. So I love that I get to do that. Well, y'all, I was there all day. I had classes graduating classes that were anywhere between 300 to 500. So you can imagine shaking that many hands and not having enough sanitizer after you're done. Like,
And not
but
running for a public office.
exactly, congratulating and things like that. And I came home. It was already after. It was probably like 10:30. I was getting home. I'm exhausted, and Joelle's like, "Oh, I know you're tired. Here you go. I got you your favorite dessert, like, which is chocolate covered strawberries for anybody listening. If you, I don't mind if you send them to me. I will eat them." Um, but I was like, well, first I was like, oh, I wish I could eat those because he also knows I fast between the hours of 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. the next day. And so he's like, oh man, okay, well, they're here for you for tomorrow. And it's the thing is, he didn't have to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't ask him
Of
to do
course.
that. He didn't have to do that. It's those little things. It has to even more. When I came in, he had cleaned up downstairs a chore that I had been ignoring for the last day. Like, it's these little things that he, to me, are the biggest, right? So it's not so much what you're not saying, it's what are you doing to show how appreciative you are to be in the relationship. Not so much to be with them, just be in the relationship with them. What are you willing, and I'm not saying that that person shouldn't come to you with 100% of also showing you what they
Of
can do.
course.
And I'll go to the using the verbiage. Maybe that's not their love language. I don't know. But I will tell you, acts of servitude is Joel's. And he's very, very like, what can I do for you? And he doesn't, and that he doesn't ask me. He knows. Like, and again, when you've been together for as long as we have, I think we've been together 20 plus years.
Wow.
I would lose. We've been married for 20 years, but been together a lot longer than that. Um, but you would think, oh, because they know each other, that's why. I can tell you, no, we had plenty of fights of, why are you asking me what I want? Just leave me alone. So I would tell you, in all honesty, Cesar, it's what are you possibly doing to show how appreciative you are to be in that relationship?
Dr. Liz, if the concept of our podcast, right, is this last 30. So if you had 30 days, if your medical doctor or a professional said, you know, something unique, whatever it is, you have 30 days. What does that look like for you? What are you doing anything different? Are you eating anything different? Are you making that call? Who's the first person you're reaching out to? Well, just kind of give us a breakdown of what those next 30 days looks like for you.
Well, I'm gonna sacrifice the first one, and probably just 12 hours of that 24 hours to plan out how I want my program of my funeral. Because I'm a buried control freak, so I need to make sure it's all the way I like it. Because knowing my husband, he's gonna mess it up anyway and still not do what I have planned out. Joelle.
Now, do I bury her or
Better be listening.
No, this guy's gonna be like, oh hell, how much is that? No, we're scratching that one out.
Yeah, okay, so Cesar, please mark down what minute we're at, and then just send that to Joel and say, hey, Joel, here's the thing. At the 18th minute, your instructions upon death are here.
They're very clear.
I'm definitely probably going to do that, and I will sacrifice 12 hours of that just so I know it's what I would like. But after that, all honesty, I might put a Facebook post letting everybody know I'm dying and I'm going to make it public because there's a couple people I don't like. I want them to know so that if they try to show up, my sister and my best friends are going to be like, she didn't even like you. You can go. So okay,
no,
there's another 5 minutes right there. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Fred. The majority of that time, I'm gonna be at the beach. I'm gonna go rack up all of my credit and buy a beach house in Corpus because that's where I would want to be. Because that's the only Texas beach I love. I'm not
if you're a real estate agent in Corpus Christi, please reach out to Doctora.
Please.
How much did you pay her to say that, Fred?
Right. No. Ask my husband. We go right now. I'm planning at least 3 times to go to Corpus before August. So
come on, boy.
I love it. So I would just want to be there. I might go in the ocean because I will tell you too, Dr. Fred and Cesar. I've told many people who know me well. No, as controlling as I am, I didn't get to decide how I would be born into this world, but I like to think that the good Lord and I are on a good relationship, that she will allow me to go out the way I want to go. And the way I want to go is through Shark Attack, because I'll be on the news, y'all. So I'm totally okay with that. This is why when we do go to Corpus, I don't go into the water. I don't even let the water touch me.
I ain't ready yet.
Okay?
Not yet. It's not my time yet.
It would have to be like Sharknado coming out. So, no. I am way far away. No. So, I would have to say I definitely want to be at the beach. I might, that last day, go ahead and go in the water as far as I possibly can and let the good Lord take me there. But that's for one day, not 2 days, not tomorrow. The goal for Joel and I is to be on the beach, and that's how life will pass for us. So, he might come. I don't know. I know that's how I want to go.
I might take him with me.
That's another grown-up conversation we need to have.
Oh my goodness. Cesar, what do you get? Last question before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so I think one last question that I think would be helpful as well is if there are any just last pieces of advice that you would like to give the community that we work with, our supporters. A lot of our listeners do come from that higher ed background just because of the work that we do, the connections that we have. So any kind of advice, anything that you want us to close off with?
Come to everybody with an asset mindset. Everybody has air in their lungs because their purpose here on this earth is not done. So please keep that perspective when you're interacting with another individual on this earth. It doesn't matter if it's a student, a graduate student. It doesn't matter if it's a second grade students, a newcomer, your parents, your Theo who's, you know, twice out of prison. Like, it doesn't matter. The reason why there is air in their lungs is because the good Lord has not checked them off for fulfilling their purpose. And we need to talk to them as such. So really helping that aspect and that mindset. I think if we come at each other that way, number one, we'll continue to thrive as a society, and we will stop formulating these victim mindsets and these only trying to survive for my own self-benefit. No, we'll go through a more thriving mindset, so that we can continue to go for more and more to create a better place for us here in this good world. So I would say that.
Thank you, Doctora. You know, when we set these up, we always know that our guests are going to come through, and you came through big time. You educated us, and you reflected the beautiful work that you do, and we're grateful for that. Remember two things. If you are interested in serving in any capacity, or you're interested in earning a doctorate, or just some higher ed advice from a different perspective, reach out to Mujeres with Doctorates, to Dra.Liz, and she can help you with that, and we'll provide that link in the comments as well. And then the second thing is June 7th, that's on a Saturday. The conference is free.
Yes.
It's free, guys. Sign up. Take your partner with you. DesMadre Summit. We'll be there. The homies are going to be there. I'm taking my spouse. I've invited some other colleagues, and it's my hope that we fill that space and empower each other and take care of each other. And you know, one last thing, Dr.Liz, if you were to create a podcast, what would be the name of your podcast?
Ooh. I think I'd want the summit to launch it. So DesMadre, and just really talking about getting into good trouble. A lot of our parents, especially in the K-12 system, we don't want to ask questions. We don't want to ruffle feathers. The teachers are the experts. The principal is the experts. And I'm just like, BS, we don't know your kid as well as you do. And so by all means, ask the questions, be persistent. You know, some people may call that annoying or you know, ay, este padre está muy chiflado aquí. And like, no, you're in your right to do it. So I would totally go that route. As that's what I would want to do, is just next topic, good trouble. What's the next piece of good trouble we can get into today?
Yeah. And you know, it reminds me of the famous quote from Margaret Mead, and that is, you know, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has, right? And so when I worked at my previous employer, they had that posted on the wall. Thank you so much, Doctora.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
for your time, for your knowledge, and mostly for the service you provide to the community. Thank you guys for listening today. We're super appreciative as we get closer to reaching some pretty serious and significant milestones for us. We hope to see you at the summit. We'll be there. Come say hi to us if you're a listener, if you're a subscriber. And who knows, maybe that will be the launch of a new podcast from my girl right here. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.